Welcome to my artificial intelligence, a model presentation made by me. Before we start our class, let me introduce myself as your teacher. My name is Azzahra Sukma and my name is 188215046. This is my midterm task artificial intelligence. So let's get started. Here is our schedule. There are first opening. I will give a fun opening and we can pray together. Second explanation. I will give all of you guys the explanation about the materials, and the last is closing. Next to the next page, there are intention. In this page, all of you guys will get a new knowledge from this presentation. Students will know what morphology is. Students will know what morpheme is. Students will know principles to identify morphemes. Students will know types of morphemes. Students will know how derivational morphemes make new words. Okay. A table of contents. 1. Morphology. 2. Morphemes. 3. Principle to identify morphemes. 4. Types of morphemes. And the last is 2 subclasses of derivational morphemes. First, morphology. What is morphology? Morphology. Within the field of biology, morphology is the study of the shapes and arrangement of parts of organisms in order to determine their function, their development, and how they may have been shaped by evolution. Morphology is particularly important in classifying species since it can often reveal how closely one species is related to another. Morphology is studied within other sciences as well, including astronomy and geology. And in language, morphology considers where words come from and why they look the way they do. And another explanation is in linguistics. Morphology is the study of words, how they are formed, and their relationship to other words in the same language. It analyzes the structure of words and parts of words such as stems, root words, prefix, and suffix. Word morphology. Morphology is the study of words and their parts. Morphemes, like prefix, suffix, and base words, are defined as the smallest meaningful units of meaning. Morphemes are important for phonics in both reading and spelling, as well as in vocabulary and comprehension. 2. Morphemes. What is morphemes? A morpheme is the smallest meaningful lexical item in language. A morpheme is not necessarily the same as a word. The main difference between a morpheme and a word is that a morpheme sometimes doesn't stand alone, but a word, by definition, always stands alone. The field of linguistic study dedicated to morphemes is called morphology. 3. Principles to identify morphemes. Principle. First, forms that have a common semantic distinctiveness and an identical phonemic form in all their occurrences constitute a single morpheme. Second, forms that have a common semantic distinctiveness but different in phonemic form. The phonemics or order of the phonemics may constitute a morpheme as long as the distribution of formal differences is phonologically definable. Third, forms that have common semantic distinctiveness but different in phonemic forms in such a way that their distribution cannot be phonologically defined constitute a single morpheme if the forms are in complementary distribution in accordance with certain restrictions. And the last is homophonous forms are identifiable as the same of different morphemes on the basis of certain conditions. 4. Types of morphemes. there are two types of morphemes. First, free morphemes, and second is bond morphemes. The explanation of free morpheme is a free morpheme is a morpheme or word element that can stand alone as a word. It is also called an unbound morpheme or a freestanding morpheme. The explanation about bound morpheme is a morpheme that doesn't have any independent meaning and can be formed with the help of free morphemes is called a bound morpheme. Free morphemes. A morpheme that has individual meaning and can be formed independently is called a free morpheme. All of the words have individual meanings and all of them are free morphemes. Free morphemes can be categorized into two subtypes. They are, first, lexical morpheme. The lexical morphemes are those morphemes that are large in number and independently meaningful. The lexical morphemes include nouns, adjectives, and verbs. And the second is functional morpheme. The functional morphemes are those morphemes that consist of functional words in a language such as prepositions, conjunction determiners, and pronouns. Bond morphemes. Bond morpheme can be categorized into two subclasses. They are, first, bond roots. Bond roots are those bond morphemes that have lexical meaning when they are included in other bond morphemes to form the context words. And the second is affixes. Affixes are those bond morphemes that naturally attach different types of words and used to change the meaning or function of these words. Affixes can be categorized into 5 subclasses according to their position in the word and function in the phrase or sentence. They are prefixes, infixes, suffixes, derivational affixes, and inflectional affixes. Prefixes are kind of bond morphemes included at the beginning of different types of words. Infixes are those bond morphemes included within the words. There are no infixes that exist in the English language. Suffixes are those bond morphemes included at the end of different types of words. Derivational affixes. Derivational morphemes are used to make new words by changing their meaning or different grammatical category. In other words, derivational morphemes form new words with a meaning and category distinct through the addition of affixes. Inflectional affixes. Inflectional morphemes are not used to produce new words, rather than indicate the aspects of the grammar function of the word. For instance, inflectional morphemes are indicated whether a word is singular or plural, if it is past tense or not, and if it is comparative or possessive forms. English has 8 inflectional morphemes, all of which are suffix. 5. 2 subclasses of derivational morphemes. This is how derivational morphemes make new words by changing their meaning of grammatical category. Derivational morphemes can be categorized into 2 subclasses. They are, first, class-maintaining derivational morphemes. Class-maintaining derivational morphemes are usually produced in the derivative form of the same class as a root. They don't change the class of the parts of speech. And the second is class-changing derivational morphemes. In contrast to class-maintaining derivational morphemes, class-changing derivational morphemes are usually produced a derivative form of the other class from the root. English inflectional morphemes affixes. First, noun, second, verbs, third, possessive, fourth, past participle, and fifth is adjectives. So all of that is my presentation. Thank you for watching this. Thank you for watching my presentation and join my class. Hope you enjoy the class I gave to all of you. Thank you. See you next time.